I get it. I know this is not the type of video you guys usually come to my channel for. You want to see me talk about old school games and my thoughts on this and top 10s, and I get it. I totally appreciate that. But this is something that I couldn't look past. I'm not a political person. I don't play to the left. I don't play to the right. I play to the 80% in the middle. That's who my people are. I am a person of the common man, and this is something that has affected the common man in a major way, and it drives me crazy and something I had to talk about. So I appreciate you guys tuning in for this. I know it's not something that you usually watch me for, but this is the Stuttering Craig channel, not the Stuttering Craig plays video game channel, or the Stuttering Craig only talks about video game channel. It's the Stuttering Craig channel, and I'm going to provide that stuff for you guys. If you guys do enjoy videos like this from time to time, hit the thumbs up button. I would love to hear your perspective on this down in the comments. If you have a different perspective, that is totally open, and I welcome that. And of course, if you're new, please subscribe. So this is from a stream the other night. Hopefully you watch it, and I got a lot off my chest. And if you felt the same way, please let me know. If you didn't feel the same way, please let me know. But enjoy. So this article came across on Twitter today. This was a trending article. Professor Emily Oster tweeted, "Let's declare a pandemic amnesty." The title being, "We need to forgive one another for what we did and said when we were in the dark about COVID." So the thought is, let's just wipe the slate clean. The last 2.5 years, we are just going to wipe the slate clean because, hey, we all make mistakes. Now, I just read this article, so you guys heard it all as we went through, and I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to let the comments and the quote retweets say. I'm just providing insight based off what people think. Well, this is my brother. You should absolutely, so once again, this lady is saying, let's just wipe the slate clean. We all make mistakes. Now, I'll open this thread just as a little, okay, this is crazy. And this is what people were saying at the time. Whenever anyone says we will die, we'll all die for something or variation thereof, that's just to justify not taking precautions to help protect others during this pandemic. We should be allowed to shoot them. Why are you crying? We all die from something. For you, it's a bullet to your gut. The CDC should roll out a new program. Get the shot or get shot. The unvaccinated need to be rounded up and lined up in front of the open trenches. Their choice is simple. These are real things that people said. Gas the unvaccinated. I'm ready to say let them die. You make a choice or not to get the shot for whatever reason, other than your doctor's note. You should not be allowed. You should not be allowed health care. You are like the brats in class that ruin it for everyone. I have no problem with that. If we're lucky, we can cut 30% of the population that votes the wrong way. Just wipe the last 2 years clean. Totally fine. This is George Takei. This guy's pretty popular. The willfully unvaccinated who wind up in hospitals from COVID should not receive priority medical care over other very sick or injured people. Okay, so we'll just move on from that. Let's move on. Let's scroll down. Elizabeth says, once again, I don't know who these people are. I do know the last one. That was my brother. You know, my brother. My brother keeps receipts. That's the one thing about my brother. If you guys know anything about my brother, he keeps receipts. And once again, we're supposed to let's just move on. Let's move on. Fuck off. Fuck you. God, that just makes me so mad. Makes me so, God, it just gets my blood boiling so much. God, you see, God, okay, I said I wasn't going to say anything, but here it is. You spent the last 2 years telling people they couldn't see their families, people dying on deathbeds without being able to hold people's hands, giving people hugs through pieces of plastic, people losing their job, not able to see people, their life, not able to travel, not able to move from place to place because they didn't get a freaking jab, losing their livelihood, losing their family, losing the one thing that you can't have, the one thing you don't get back, time. When the data was there. And you're just going to wipe it all away. That's ridiculous. Ridiculous. F you. God, I'm sweating. It's ridiculous. Sorry, that just drives me freaking crazy. Look, I'm not a violent person. I'm not a hateful person, but that just unreal. Unreal. The arrogance that you must have to think that you can just say, oops, my bad. Oops, my fault. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? She's going to wipe the last 2 years. Okay, we'll just wipe off grandma who died because she couldn't see. She died of loneliness because she couldn't spend any time with her grandson. She had to look at him through a window with a flimsy mask on. She made a crochet because she had to have something on. Ridiculous. Unreal. Crab says, both my parents died during the pandemic, and I couldn't see either of them. Unreal. How many disregard? My bad. Disregard not the 99.8% of people that were fine, right? Disregard the 100% of the people who were dramatically affected from this, mentally and physically, right? The 100% of the people on the entire world's population who either got shut down, put out, discriminated against, or something along those lines, who mentally got destroyed, who it literally ruined people. Oh, my bad. Oh, my bad. Unreal. On the absolute arrogance. The amount of mistrust that people have found in the last 2 years. People talk about misinformation. The misinformation coming from people that were supposed to be trusted. Government agencies that said this is the way to do it, only to say, oops, my bad. My bad. We'll just wipe that clean. The amount of distrust that people have, that they sowed on people. Because they said, listen to us. Whoops. Our fault. My bad. My bad. Unreal. Unreal. The arrogance attached to this. Absolute arrogance. Elizabeth says, we need to have amnesty amongst friends and neighbors. But I want a congressional investigation into why the schools were closed as long as they were. This was a systematic failure that exposed conflicts of interest between politicians, special interest groups, and children. Sorry, I like this, in case you can't tell. It's the arrogance that gets me. It's the sheer arrogance that someone would have to even suggest this after ruining millions of people's lives. Just to go, oh, we're going to wipe the slate clean. We're just going to move on. Fuck you. God. Sorry. The amount of freedoms that were taken away from people, the ability to travel, the ability to see their friends, their family, to go to restaurants, to go to movies, the industries you ruined, the wealth that was transferred, the people that got filthy rich, ridiculously rich, based off things they knew, people they knew, decisions that were made. Lawmakers, senators, public servants who got incredibly wealthy conveniently over the last 2 years. Fuck you. Sorry. I know that I am on a rant tonight, and I know you guys usually don't tune in. I want to keep things positive, but I can't do this. I can't even think about letting this slide. I can't even think about saying, nope, it's okay. Nope, it's fine. 100% of the world's population was affected by this. 100%. in some way, shape, or form. I can't do it. Tyler says, Craig, all the news that our favorites from 10 years ago, all the news that our favorites from about 10 years ago are not what we remember. My man, dang, you put a smile on my face from being a good guy back then, and you're still that guy now. COVID-19 was a turning point in our generation. We worked through COVID-19 because we were essential. You're right, Tyler. I am the exact same guy I was. I still treat people the exact same way. I don't care if you're black, white, gay, straight, trans, whatever. Pick whatever you want. You want to be a dog, you be a dog. I don't care. I don't care. As long as you don't try to force it on me, I don't care. I will treat you with respect. I don't care. I think you should treat people with respect. You should care about them. This isn't caring about them, and that's what drives me the most crazy. That's what drives me the most crazy. This is just absolute arrogance and disregard for the suffering that people went through over the past 2 years, 3 years, that people are still going through right now because of the decisions that were made that they had no decision on. Unelected idiots making decisions that affected everybody. Everybody. And guess who gained from it? Those people. Ridiculous. I'm not going to say that there's not a tiny bit of merit into what she's saying. I understand her sentiment, but it's wrong. It's wrong. People say, oh, you can't have cancel culture. It's accountability culture. Well, guess what? People need to be held accountable for destroying millions of lives. I can't deal with that. Not that Kate. Oh, we did know. Those of us who worked in pandemic planning and OSHA guidelines knew that cloth quote unquote mask would never stop a respiratory virus. We also knew that standing 6 feet apart would not stop an aerosols virus. This was all known. Getting ratioed in the worst way possible. We weren't in the dark. We had a long prepared pandemic playbook, which we threw out in a panic. No amnesty, accountability. Yep, and it was well researched and planned. There were actually two, CDC and WHO, and they pretty much agreed on the plan. Both were thrown out in favor of the China plan. That's right, we got that all there. It's ridiculous. Extra Zero says, remember when Gina Carano got canceled for simply saying to not vilify your neighbors? Right. I don't know Gina Carano, but I'm like 1 degree of separation away from Gina Carano. I know people who know her. And think about her and the way she was treated, the money she's lost. Because of things like that. That's insane. Backyard TARDIS with the super chat says, in a lot of ways, I agree with her. We need to go back to treating people like people. Just be a good person. Yeah, we do. But the people who made these decisions need to be held accountable. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I want to go back. I actually, look, there's right here. This right here, we need to have amnesty amongst our friends and neighbors. Yeah, you need to be cordial to your friends and neighbors, right? There are people who have, their families have been severed over the last 2 years because of this. Can't see each other. It's been so politicized, it's ridiculous. Am I alone on this? Like, I am not crazy conspiracy theory guy. And if somebody disagrees with me, please talk with me. Because this, you can tell, I rarely get this passionate about things. But I can't. This just affected way too many people. And this drives, like, every time I think about this knowing what I felt the last 2 years, knowing what I've seen from people in the last 2 years. And I've done just fine. But knowing how mentally it's affected me, how I've seen people, it's just destroyed. I'm not okay with just moving on.